Ukraine's president says Russia's rush to mobilize hundreds of thousands of recruits to staunch stinging losses is a tacit acknowledgement that its army is not able to fight. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told CBS he's bracing for more Russian strikes on Ukraine's electrical infrastructure as the weather gets colder. He says this winter will be very difficult. Although the European Union is now largely off limits to most Russians, with direct flights stopped and its land borders increasingly closed to them, an exodus of Russians fleeing military service is sparking divides among European officials over whether they should be granted safe haven. The partial mobilization is also triggering more protests in Russia. If Russia uses nuclear weapons in Ukraine, the United States says it will act decisively. AP correspondent Julie Walker reports.
A warning for Russia when it comes to nuclear weapons from White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan.
If Russia crosses this line, there will be catastrophic consequences for Russia. The United States will respond decisively.
He adds that the U.S. spelled out for Russia privately and in greater detail exactly what that means.
They would be catastrophic if Russia went down the dark road of nuclear weapons use.
He also says while the Russian army is in trouble and the Ukrainian army is making advances on the battlefield, that doesn't mean the danger is over. Sullivan made his comments on NBC's Meet the Press. I'm Julie Walker.
Wearing T-shirts showing Russian bears, waving flags with Z symbols, and holding pictures of Putin, the Ukraine war has not deterred Bulgarian Russophiles who rallied in the center of the country Sunday to show their support. While Florida awaits a hurricane, Puerto Rico continues a tough recovery from one. AP correspondent Shelley Adler reports.
Residents are returning to homes that are now empty because flooding has destroyed their belongings, and they worry about how they will rebuild their lives after a devastating hurricane for the second time in 5 years. Fiona hit a week ago, and about 45% of Puerto Rico's power customers remained in the dark on Sunday, and about 20% of water customers had no service. Gas stations, grocery stores, and other businesses have temporarily shut down due to lack of fuel for generators. Puerto Rico's government says it expects to have a preliminary estimate of the damage Fiona caused in about 2 weeks. I'm Shelley Adler.
Former Hurricane Fiona has left hundreds of thousands of people in Atlantic Canada without power, and officials are trying to assess the scope of devastation. Fiona swept away houses, stripped off roofs, and blocked roads across the country's Atlantic provinces. After surging north from the Caribbean, Fiona came ashore before dawn Saturday as a post-tropical cyclone, still at hurricane strength. Defense Minister Anita Anand told CTV on Sunday troops will help remove fallen trees, restore transportation links, and do whatever else is necessary for as long as it takes.
This is an all-hands-on-deck effort, and I know that our Canadian Armed Forces will rise to the challenge, as they always do.
Utility companies say it could take days before the lights are back on for everyone. Britain's Labour Party will unveil its plans Monday to set up a national wealth fund to invest in green projects which will benefit the public. This is part of the opposition party's answer to the Conservative government's tax-cutting approach. The so-called mini-budget has opened up a divide between Prime Minister Liz Truss's Conservatives and the Labour Party of Keir Starmer, who wants to use the years before an expected election in 2024 to prove his team is ready for power. Polls closed in an Italian general election that could move the country's politics sharply toward the right during a critical time for Europe, with the war in Ukraine fueling skyrocketing energy bills and testing the West's resolve to stand united against Russian aggression. Far-right leader Giorgia Meloni's electoral alliance appeared to hold a wide lead in the vote. An exit poll on state television suggested shortly after polls closed Sunday evening. And Tokyo Olympic champion Xander Schauffele delivered the clinching point Sunday as the United States secured a 9th consecutive President's Cup victory over the Internationals.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.